be talking to you about something really important that so many of us might not have in consideration whenever, especially if you are new doing business with China and it happens to be like you happen to find a good opportunity or you happen to not understand the cost of purchasing cheap or the cost of purchasing something without having the proper knowledge. And what is that I'm talking today about is like certifications. So in previous years ago, you all might remember the hype of the spinners. Please do leave a comment down below if you are aware of what I'm speaking of, like whenever the fidget spinner was trending, that was like around, I'm not even sure if it's already 10 years or so, but the fidget spinner starts rising on the Chinese market and everyone around the world was purchasing spinners. You might have also hoped on this trend and purchased spinners as well. I don't know if you were one of those like importing and selling spinners. And I believe spinners went really popular because of a YouTuber or a few YouTubers that were showing off like different kind of spinners, different shapes, different forms. It was like, wow, that spinner. I never really got to understand the hype about the spinner because for me it was a product that was just so simple without any functionality at all. It was just like somehow a toy for me, without much, I don't know, much utility at all, but just entertainment. Somehow it was, as its name, like fidget spinner for you to entertain yourself while you were nervous, instead of like biting your nails or somehow, you know, shaking your hands, etc. Anyways, at this moment, just like the rise on any kind of trend, just like recently the pandemic, the masks, there were so many clients around the world wanting to purchase fidget spinners. And there was this client, especially from Spain, that arrived to our website at that time and contacted me and asked whether we could quote him some specific spinners. Yes, of course we can. And I remember he bought like really little. It was like $250 of just product itself. Somehow, something like that. Anyways, at that moment, I wasn't aware of any like qualifications of the products to be shipped to that certain country. It was Spain, somewhere in Spain, a small island called Isla Canarias. Anyways, we shipped the goods, and after, like, when they arrived by DHL Express, because it was just like a few amount, 250 USD is not that much. So once the client received the goods, because of course when we ship by DHL, it's not like the delivery company will directly just put it on your hands, on your door. It does go through like customs inspection and customs requirements, taxation. Like you will need to pay the amount required of taxes if there is any taxes generated by the products you're sending, depending on the quantity, etc. And that will depend on the country. So in this case, I am not able to tell you about your country because we need to check upon one product and one specific country. Sometimes it also depends on quantity. For example, for Peru, I've heard like my clients 200 USD or less is not considered as commercial, so you can just pass it through customs without paying any tax. So a lot of people will do this strategy of like be shipping small parcels, 200 USD or less, or not just shipping small parcels, but also pretending like if the parcel is like 500 USD or even 800, 1000 USD, they will ask for the invoice to be edited as if it was just 200 USD of product costs. Of course, customs around the world nowadays are very well trained on how much is the cost of each and every product. So many times if you decrease the cost by like more than half, it's just very unbelievable, and of course you can have some trouble. Anyways, so at that time I remember that the customer, the Spanish customer, purchased these spinners, and it was just so little. So we shipped them to that specific island. And whenever the client got notified, because as I was saying, it's not like the goods will arrive to your hand if there is any taxation needed or any process in customs that need to be like clarified, or like somehow, you know, any requirement, then you will get a notice from DHL like this and that is needed, or this and that much is the cost of the custom taxation, so you need to pay tax before we can deliver the goods for you. So the client was like complaining that DHL notified him because he couldn't import the goods because the goods didn't have the CE certification. At this point, I don't know, this was like so many years ago. Of course, it's not fully fault of the client. I'm not gonna say it's his fault, because so many clients are very unaware of the requirements in their countries to import any goods. And at that moment, we didn't work with logistic agents around the world. So I was really unaware of that specific island around Spain. Like, what will they need for that kind of goods to be imported smoothly? I am quite aware of like our frequent customers, just like Mexico, Peru, USA, etc. So I was not aware of that, and we just shipped some kind of spinners that didn't have the CE certification. If you are from somewhere around Europe, I believe like the European Union has this requirement for almost a lot of goods, like from toys to different kind of goods. You might be more able to tell us more about that if you are knowledgeable about this subject. Please do let us know in the comment section. However, this customer got notified by DHL like your goods cannot be imported without the CE certification. So the client was very unaware of how this all worked, and he asked us for the certification. But this certification is not like a paper that I will just send through email like, yeah, this is the paper. It needs to be like printed on the goods, on the product itself. As you have noticed before, so many toys have the CE, especially because the certification, once they got this, then they can get to Europe. And toys are very sensitive products since children will be using them and they can be toxic, etc. So they can be global, right? Once you get the CE, then you can also get into the European Union. But we have to be very aware that certifications, as I mentioned in previous videos, have its own cost. And the products or the suppliers that we were dealing with at that time mostly were like providing USA or Latin American countries, just like Mexico and other countries, where this certification was not a requirement, was not needed. And of course, we had also some privileged prices because of the same issue, the same aspect that the more certification, qualification, licenses that your product acquires, the more cost is also acquired by the product itself, right? because you are purchasing the certifications. You are going through the process of being certified, of being licensed, of being, having this or that. So that has somehow a cost. And if you are aiming or targeting those kind of countries, it's a must. There's not like, I'm not going to do it, because customers from those countries will not be buying from you, because they are very aware that they cannot import such goods if the requirement is not up to standards. So for Latin America, in contrary, this certification was not needed, and we had a supplier that had really good prices for small or big quantities at that time. And because we were purchasing big quantities, so for this 250 USD of product, he also gave us like competitive price, because we were purchasing so many orders in that same week for many countries. We shipped the goods, the client got this notification, and he was just so calmed down, very chilled. Hey, I cannot import the goods, they need this certification, could you send it to me? At that time, I must confess, I was also like ignorant. And then I realized it after this case that this is not something that we can resolve once the goods are sent. It's over. You cannot just ship a certification, because the goods need to be printed with the CE itself. Otherwise, and because I didn't have any contacts over there or whatsoever, so the client couldn't import the goods, or the goods couldn't be delivered to the client, because the client at first, it was just some teenager that wanted to have the fidget spinners and sell them 250 USD. It was a trend, a hype. So this mistake cost us very much. The 250 became, I am very well aware of this because I remember this case. It was, how much? Okay, so at that moment the goods couldn't be imported, delivered to the client, and up to us at this moment. We work different now, but there are two choices. Either the goods are destroyed on like destiny, meaning once they arrive to the client or the country, and the client cannot import the goods, or they cannot be delivered because of X or Y, or the client, whatever problem. But the client also needs to notify DHL, and us as origin, we will also notify destiny. The goods, we allow the goods to be destroyed and not returned back to origin China. I remember I contacted the client and I was like, there is not an option for the goods to be delivered, because you didn't let us know if you needed any requirement. Customers, if this service didn't include import service, is a must of a client to be aware of the requirements that goods need to be allowed into your country. Nowadays, we have the service of we can ship as well as we can import the goods and deliver them directly to your door, being said in Spain, USA, Mexico, Germany, wherever, all around the world. Nowadays, we have this service, but 10 years ago, we didn't work like this. So we would just ship them through DHL, and we will notify the client. We do not do any like custom liberation, like we do not have anything to do with customs once the goods arrive to your country. So it's going to be everything up to you. Once client agrees, then he will proceed to do the payment. So he was well aware of the situation. And I was like, you didn't let me know in advance that you needed this CE. If you have told me, I will have looked for a supplier that had the CE certification, and you will have CE goods, and there wouldn't be a problem. But he was not aware of that. Of course, he was just someone that wanted to purchase fidget spinners because it was trending. And in this case, because we are not on charge of the importing the goods, then it's not our responsibility to do anything else. And I was like, you were not cooperating, or you didn't ask us any requirements. Otherwise, we could have searched for a supplier that fitted your requirements and you wouldn't have a problem. And then I emailed him and I was like, there's just one choice, two choices. The goods need to be destroyed there because you cannot import them, so we need to give like an order. But you as a client need to also back us up that Origin is already giving the order to destroy the goods and you as a client need to give the order. And at this moment, he stopped replying my emails. And I was like, no, he just disappeared. Because he was like, oh, I messed up, you know? And the second option, of course, is DHL somehow return it automatically the parcel. But you guys, there is some cost involved always in shipping goods or in logistics services, right? And I remember clearly that because of this client inability to reply or to respond or to be able to make himself responsible for not having the requirements clear and giving the order to destroy the parcel, he just disappeared, stop answering my packages. Then the goods, the small box, was given the order to return back to China because it was just like that. And I remember my DHL agent at that time told me like, oh my God, we just got the order that the parcel is coming back. And the total of this return cost is gonna be like 12,000 renminbi. And I was like, no way. I was just blown away because, of course, during these times where you have like really hot products, just like the masks a few years ago with the pandemic, we have the fidget spinners. And as many spinners as we got to sell, we also got to lose because of this or that kind of mistake, because we are not aware of what is really happening and everything goes so fast. There are so many clients around the world. Just like the masks, you remember when the 2020 everybody purchasing masks and everybody's losing money on masks because nobody knows what they're really doing. They're just purchasing masks because it's trending, because it's supposed to be earn you some money because everybody needs them. But once the market is overflown with products, there's not much demand, but there is an overflow of like offer, then the price decreases and everybody's just like somehow trying to sell their masks as at a cost like not even half of what they bought them. And the logistic agent back in China, I remember it took them months to deliver the mask. So all the business was just broken, really broken. Anyways, that parcel came back and I had to pay 12,000 renminbis. 12,000 yuan or renminbi for that to come back. And I was just so upset and angry because of that small client that was not aware of how to do things. And after that, now we do have some different strategies or like somehow boundaries to avoid this to happen. Anyways, nowadays we do work with some logistic agents around the world that can deliver the goods directly to your door without you paying any taxation at destinies, but at origin. So we will give you the quotation with everything, including the customs liberation, tax if needed, etc. And then the customer, if wanting to do this smooth process from origin, will prepay us all the costs. And he will just be in charge of receiving the goods whenever the goods are arriving home. Nowadays, I'm having a lot of Mexican clients and also other country clients that are receiving goods, and they are so very happy because of the, it's the end of the year, you are kind of like finishing things up. So it's a good time to receive your goods and not to wait for them until the next year. But have in mind that if you wanna receive goods during this time of the year, which is very hot, you have to order like 4 months in advance to the date that you want to start selling them, just to avoid any delays. Anyways, this was a story that really got me in the nerve. I mean, $2,050 at now it's gonna be like 250 USD will be. I'm not even, I cannot even count. It's late. Anyways, it was just so little. The order was just so little compared to what I had to pay for the goods to be returned back. And now they were back in Shenzhen. They were in Hong Kong. And I don't remember whether we reshipped them somewhere else or we just didn't care anymore for them and that was it. Because as far as I remember, the working process was like goods were shipped and are shipped always from Hong Kong port. And they return back to Hong Kong. And you can reship them from Hong Kong, but you cannot undo and redo packages. It's just like that. You can just ship them back. But that was a total loss for me back in, what was the date? I forgot. However, this story I wanted to share with you, not because of my loss, but because my loss can be your loss. Meaning like you might encounter goods that are cheap enough for you to be interested in purchasing them because the price is attractive on internet, on Alibaba, whatever, and you are someone that is living in a country that some requirements, specific requirements just like this, see in the European Union or somehow something else is needed, and because of your ignorance towards the requirements of the goods for your specific country, you can just purchase them, and once the goods arrive to your country, then you will have a big bad surprise whenever you get to know that these goods will not be allowed and that you either need to pay X amount, because I guess somehow there will be a solution maybe, or lose the whole parcel. And losing 250 USD is nothing. But oh my God, there was another story. I'm gonna leave it for another day. I have a very big client from Mexico. Oh, it's already 10 years. Give this video a thumbs up if you are enjoying this. I hope that you are. He purchased it. It was about, I believe, $25,000, something like that. $25,000 of specific product. $25,000. And something happened. Not from our side fault. Also, he wasn't aware of some specific requirements to be importing these goods to Mexico, and when the goods arrived to port, there was a big bad surprise. But this story I will let you know on the next episode. And for now, just to be aware that if you are going to be importing your own goods, then please have everything checked with your supplier of whatever is that is needed for you to introduce the goods smoothly. And if you are unaware of everything and do not want to deal with anything, that's why we are here for. We can help you with finding a supplier that suits your needs and requirements, specifications, desires, whatever, as well as we can help you to quote a specific product with a specific specification and requirements, and also help you to quote the shipping cost to your final destination, being your door, with all the taxation, etc. included. So those two services can be of great help for these kind of individuals that want to avoid at any cost having a, I don't know if it's a, how to say, newbie kind of mistake, because you are newbie, you just wanna oh, I found a really cheap product on the internet, let me purchase it, and I'm gonna invest 1,000 or $10,000 on this. And then for your bad luck, it's not luck actually, this is not question of luck. If you found this video, then you are lucky. But purchasing like cheap goods from China without knowledge of the requirements is not bad luck, it's ignorance. And therefore, if you are finding my content somewhere in the internet, then it's your signal, or it's your sign to purchase our services. I will let you know down below in the comment section our contact info, be via WeChat or WhatsApp, for you guys to contact us if you need any kind of service from China with love to your door, no matter where you are in the world, okay? So be aware of whatever it is that is needed. And if you don't have time to deal with such hassle, which I don't recommend you to do, because if you are a business owner, what you should be doing is focusing on your business and focusing on how would you do to sell more, and not focusing on purchasing and the purchasing process and the possibilities of suppliers like stealing from you or not sending goods, and possibilities of your country customs to be retaining your goods. These leave us all, please leave it all for us, the experts. And well, you are enjoying doubling, tripling your sales of whatever product or business that you are making. Okay, hope that you enjoyed this one. Give this video a thumbs up and let me know your comment down below if you have any experience regarding this issue, or any question, which I will be answering in future videos to come. Kisses to the world. Love